Welcome back, guys and girls, to another video, final video with Thunk Tank. Here we are about to be the bad guys, break Kingdom Peace. Don't recommend doing this on the regular. This is the first time I've ever encouraged it and not cared. Say what you will, I don't know what that means about me, but yeah, having all these teeth and nothing to bite kind of sucks at times. We've been pretty restrained, I think, previously and leading up to this day, just because I think we're all aware of what well, I don't want to call myself overpowered, but what somebody with decent stats can do. So yeah, we tend to abstain from, I used to abstain from doing kill event at all, just because I knew that I just set people so far back and I know how that feels. So just taking today to, I guess, be the bad guy, which is what this game's about. So here we are using one of our guys as a Trojan, essentially. So here he is out in the sticks. We've poured it out of our hive so we can't be seen loading him up. And I think I check a few times to make sure in the skill history over in Avalon that, these skills, the king skills haven't been used. So he hasn't been looked for. I haven't been looked for. And it looks good to go. So yeah, I think right there I was just about to check, but I edited it funny. So here we go. Thunk Tank, Little Brave Soul has poured it in. He's got my reinforcements. He's got Dash's reinforcements. So he's pretty beefed up right now, and he's hitting farms. So farms are the best way to get people's attention. You never want to go for their main alliance because the main alliance castles can be reinforced, and your Trojan will basically lose all of his troops. So the only goal for the Trojan is to get people's attention. And by setting a whole bunch of castles on fire, I think it's a pretty decent way to get people's attention. And we chose him because he had a power level we thought people would be comfortable with trying to solo. If you choose a power level that's too high, people are going to be hesitant. So you want to choose, to be most effective, you want to choose somebody that has a power level that's somewhat lower, maybe like 20 million or so. And people won't even bat an eye at that. Like I wouldn't bat an eye at that normally. Because 20 million is nothing. It's easy to hit once you're getting up to like the SH30 level. So we're counting on that. We're counting on people, when they see what he's done, they're gonna want to take him out right away without even thinking. And I think, yep, that's exactly what happened. So here, Queen Vinaybe's just basically Vinbebe just poured it in and tried to one-shot him, and I don't think it worked. Not. Yeah, so that's her entire march gone right there. Oh, she got 7,000 wounded. It's not too bad. So, yeah, and surprisingly, this works a couple times. We got a couple hits on this. I think this tactic is underutilized. You can definitely use it, but it also requires that you have somebody in your alliance that can guarantee, I guess, a certain level of victory. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Everybody loses. If my troops hadn't been in there, for example, this hit that's about to happen here in a second. There we go. So that was Angry Lettuce sending in his troops. Had my troops not been in there with Angry Lettuce's stats, he would have just destroyed everything in there, most likely. So we still lost a little bit. Angry lost, I think, that entire march, or most of it, 96K. But yeah, so just be aware of that, guys. Trojans do work. Make sure you choose whoever it's going to be, effectively. The other reason for sending him in was to basically, I don't know if you noticed, but the king, or the queen rather, used the no attack skill on him. So basically, yeah, that protects the big players from having that skill cast on them. So as soon as that happens, I jump in. I think I get a couple hits in this round. Unfortunately, I didn't record most of the hits because, as I find out, when you find an opportunity to hit someone, you just jump on it, and you don't even. I just didn't even remember to use the recording software, so apologies for that. There was a big hit though, and it wasn't from me. It was from Angry Lettuce. Angry ended up soloing one of our guys who had 70 million power, and he dropped him. He took off 50 million of his power, basically wiped out all of his troops. So I think that was a huge eye-opener for our alliance. I think a lot of people quit because of that, because the reality is there's not much you can do against people that put money into the game. There's not. And like I've said in other videos, that's not a KOA alone problem. That is something that plagues um, all mobile strategy games at this stage. There are a couple games I think that are exceptions. I think Dawn of Titans, if you want to check that game out, looks really interesting. It still has an awesome alliance system, but it's got way more strategy in my mind. It's really about matching up your attacks and everything versus others, and yeah, I think I think it's also editor choice. It's editor's choice award. It's people. A lot of people couldn't believe the game was for mobile when it came out. So check that out. It's still doing strong, 4.5 stars, and it's been out for quite a while. So it's gotta count for something. Here, yeah, like at this point, I'm just trying to get whatever I can, but I get turned back a few times, and eventually they shield. So it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping. I do another crazy attack just because it's in my blood on Angry Lettuce. So Angry and I, like I've said, are pretty evenly matched when it comes to stats. He probably has me beat on troop attack stats, while I've got him beat on, I believe, defense. So yeah, here we go. I get turned away, which is really annoying. Speaking of eviction spells, I didn't know this, but we tried it out and it does work. You can actually cast the TP freeze, so the teleport freeze on someone, anti-teleport spell, whatever. And if they're in your alliance zone, you can still evict them using the force teleport. And it doesn't get rid of the teleport freeze. So it's a great way to kind of kick people out of your zone who are like if they're overpowered for a couple hours. So if you don't have um, if you want to get rid of somebody and you don't have king skills, it's a good way to go. At this point, yeah, I think I'm going to attack, and then we're just gonna see. Yeah, I think I got this guy off guard. Angry's just hitting the crap out of our smaller players who decided to jump in and join me, and I don't think he's paying attention to what I was doing at the time. I think he was actually cooking dinner or something from what he was saying. And I'm not sure why I screwed up this march. I sent a march 2 in. Ah, right. I think I was trying to bait a reinforcement. So I guess it really depends on people paying attention. But here I'm trying to I'm testing the water to see if anybody's going to reinforce him. And once I see this march go out from Angry, I'm like, all right, well, he's not going to reinforce. So I'll just send in an actual march. And yeah, I hit this guy. So this is really expensive. So I'm using the last of my gold that I had saved over from that expensive KVK. I also got VIP 10, which helped out a little bit. That's an extra 15% essentially health right there, as well as an extra 5 defense and attack. So decent hit there. It's not one of my best hits, but yeah, and nowhere near as good as Angry's hit. Angry, I mean, when we saw that happen, that was just, I guess, the nail in the coffin for me and a few other players. We're just like, nah, this is ridiculous. So I ended up hitting a couple of the other guys the next day, and I think I got Virus and one other player, or maybe not. But yeah, it was pretty quiet. Not having as much gold as I normally do. Really restriction mobility, which also kind of, when I think about it now, it's kind of lame. If you don't spend money, you're not able to hit people effectively. So it really comes down to catching people off guard. I mean, you're better off creating a time zone for people and finding out where people live, essentially, to see when they're going to be asleep. Because otherwise, like, people can defend against you, whatnot. It was a lot better when it was early on and they didn't have all this old overpowered gear, because then, things like rallies actually mattered, and at the moment they don't. So here's coming up is my hit on Angry. I'm waiting for an opportunity here because, like I said, we're pretty evenly matched. He's got me beat on attack. I'm waiting for him to send a troop march out, as I normally do, just because if he sends that march out, there it goes. He's not going to have his dragon in there, and I'm also going to have, he's also going to have a few less troops, so I'm trying to go as fast as possible here. I'm trying not to overclick, because sometimes you can actually spend more gold there than actually works. So I dropped him for about, I think, yeah, 10 million there. Of course, most of his troops are going to be wounded. Looks like he healed up most of his troops in the Alliance hospital. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I didn't ask, but yeah, having life preserver on really helped. Obviously, saved. I think I only lost 60K, and the rest were wounded, so I was able to heal up for the next day and continue attacking. How bad did I do? Yeah, so 60K. So that's not a bad hit at all. If you're going to be suicidal. But yeah, guys, look, I just want to say a sincere thank you for subscribing and supporting and commenting on the videos. I hope, a lot of you guys agree. It sounds like a lot of you guys agree with the issues. I think it's hard for anybody to disagree on the issues of this game, but fingers crossed the developers over at Fun Plus decide, we need to change up what we're doing because this isn't working. A lot of us are heavily invested in the game. If you're considering the game, I'd say don't play. Keep an eye on it. See if they come out with any fixes. Read the feedback on any game you download, because if you see someone ranting about how easy it is for someone to pay to win and, complaining about no strategy, then that's probably a red flag that you're going to want to go investigate. I'm not saying, take that at face value, but it is, I think, a hint to basically go and see if, something, there's any truth to it, honestly, there probably is. One of the games I'm really looking forward to is called Star Wars Rise to Power, and that's because the developers are from EA Games. So these are the guys that do Battlefield. They pretty much do all the Star Wars franchise stuff. So they got a lot on the line, and I remember in one of the descriptions that they had for the game, they said you couldn't win battles without carefully orchestrated attacks. So fingers crossed they stay true to their word and require some level of strategy to pull off victory. But essentially, it looks the same. It's the same concept as this. So you build up a base, and the strategy comes more in the form of how do you do diplomacy and how do you organize attacks. So there's not a lot of information out on it. You can sign up to be a closed alpha tester. I've put in an application. That means I won't be able to actually talk about the game until it goes to beta, but yeah, fingers crossed I get in. If I do and it looks good, guys, I will let you know. Otherwise, if you have come across any really good mobile strategy games that don't have too much of a pay to win, because honestly, they're probably all going to be they're going to have some form of pay to win. But if it's not overpowered like it is here, where people are now easily into the 700 stat range, let me know. Let us all know in the comments. And yeah, guys, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. And this is Thunk Tank out. Stay safe out there, and I hope these videos kind of, help or open your eyes a little bit to some of the issues we're facing in the game. So take it easy, all, and until then, goodbye.